What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Double B here, back with another video. Before I get started, just would like to ask if you guys could just please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps my channel out a ton. It helps, get it to reach more people. But without any further ado, before I get into Week 9's picks, I'm just going to do a quick recap from our last video from Thursday Night Football. We did really well. We went 5-0 in the NFL, which I had two picks in last video, and then I also added 3 picks in the pinned comment, and I also dropped them on Twitter, so that's why I always tell you to make sure to follow me on Twitter. But like I said, going forward, I'm going to add the picks in the pinned comments for that video. I did also drop 2 picks for the NBA on Twitter, so it was 7-0 on the day for straights. So it was just here, Joe Mixon under 112 rush receiving. Don't know how he cashed that because he had like 80 something yards at halftime, but he didn't do much in the second half. Aaron Rodgers over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Jets minus 1.5. CJ Stroud under 223 passing yards. Devontae Adams over 56.5 receiving yards. That last touchdown was clutch. And then the 2 NBA plays was Brook Lopez over 1.5 threes and John Morant over 1.5 threes. So very good day. Didn't have a video yesterday. I didn't have one for Friday, but did post some pics on Twitter. Went very well there. But without any further ado, I have 7 player props for you guys for this week on Week 9 Sunday. I'm going to probably have a couple more picks. I'm going to drop them in the pinned comments, and I will also post them on Twitter. Just waiting for a few, injury updates, and, just for some lines to drop. A couple guys I'm looking at right now is Austin Eckler receiving yards and Christian Watson receiving yards. Going to be a couple more guys, so make sure to check those pinned comments if you aren't following me on Twitter. So without any further ado, let's get started with the picks. My first pick here is going to be Saquon Barkley over 13.5 receiving yards over on Caesars for minus 121 odds. So Dallas Goedert's already been ruled out again for the game on this Sunday against Jacksonville. So Barkley is their third best receiving option. Eagles have not used him as much in the pass game as I would have expected they would be. He still gets a couple targets a game. He'll get a couple catches. But I'm hoping with this matchup against Jacksonville, who allow the third most receiving yards to running backs, I'm hoping that, they get him more involved. Again, he can get this in one catch. His receiving yard props at 2.5. So, it is, plus money for him to get over 2.5. So, but I like this even if he just gets 2 catches. I think he can go get 14 yards. Like I said, he can get it in one catch. But like I said, if he can't get it in this matchup, I'll probably never bet on Barkley again, receiving yards wise. So again, with this matchup, I can't pass this up. This is a very short number for Barkley. So love the pick there. Next one is, I don't have much data for you guys with this one. It's Jalen Cooker over 34.5 receiving yards over on DraftKings at minus 120. It's up to 36.5 last time I checked. If you don't know, he's a receiver for Carolina, and he looks like to be their number 1 receiver right now with Dante Johnson traded. Adam Thielen's still going to be out for this game. It's a great matchup against the Saints. They are big dogs, 7.5-point dogs. Bryce Young has looked a little bit better in his first game back. So they should have to throw the ball a lot, and he did. He had, I believe, 70-something yards last week on 5 catches. So I like him. I like them to be heavily involved in the offense this week. So like the look there for Jalen Cooker. This play here, my next one is Taysom Hill over 24.5 rushing yards. So Kendra Miller has already been ruled out. Jamal Williams was doubtful, but he recently just got officially ruled out, and I think Miller actually got put on IR. So Kamara, as of right now, they might call someone up from the practice squad, but as of right now, Kamara is the only running back that's healthy for the Saints. So they're playing against Carolina, who is the worst team against. They allow the most rushing yards. They are the worst team against running backs. Taysom Hill is basically a hybrid of everything. So I really like Taysom Hill over at 24.5 receiving yards. You can shop around. I know that he's at some places he's 26.5. I've even seen him 27.5. See what the best number you can get, but it definitely feels like a Taysom Hill week. I think he's finally fully healthy and ready to go. Kamara should have a good game as well. If you wanted to pivot, I would go with Kamara, but his rushing yards last time I checked was 71.5. I can still see him getting it, but I like the value you're getting with Taysom Hill. If you also think he's going to have a good receiving game, last time I looked, his receiving yards at 11.5. So, but I definitely pivot to his. My favorite spot for Taysom Hill is his rush yards, just because of how bad Carolina is against, running backs specifically. But anyone that runs the ball, they are just terrible. I mean, their defense is terrible overall, but definitely a lot worse on the ground. My next play here is Devon Achane over 4.5 receptions at plus 110. As you can see here, I'm not really sure why it's at 4.5. Whoops, my bad. Let me just scroll back down. But yeah, it's at 4.5. Really like that spot for him. In the 3 games Tua was healthy this year, he's had 7, 7, and 6 receptions. Miami plays the Bills this week, who's not only allows the most receptions to running backs, they also allow the most receiving yards. So if you want his receiving yards, cool. It's at 36.5 last time I checked. So for a running back, it is high. I still definitely doable, but I just prefer his reception, especially at plus money. I mean, I don't see, he should definitely be heavily involved in this offense. This is a must-win for Miami, and with he couldn't ask for a better matchup here. So I really like the spot here for Achane. My next play here is Jacoby Myers over 50.5 receiving yards. As you can see, I know he's technically the receiver 1, so I don't think his line should be that low. I know Brock Bowers is probably their main target for, passing downs, but, he's their best wide receiver, and I don't really see why such a low number going up against Cincinnati, considering they're also big dogs, 7.5-point dogs. They should be having to throw the ball a lot. Since Myers has came back with Devontae Adams not there anymore, he's the main receiver, so he should be getting a lot of targets. They should have to throw the ball a lot. So I think 50.5 yards is just a little too low for Jacoby Myers. And my next play here is Devon Vele over 25.5 receiving yards. So if you watched my video last week, we did ladder him. His baseline was at 24.5. He cashed that. He had 28 yards. But I love the matchup again for this week for him against Baltimore, who allows the most receiving yards to receivers. And as I said last video, his target share against cover 3 is insane. Ravens run cover 3 the most. So, and my bad, I said first, they allow the 3rd most receiving yards to receivers, but Baltimore, they've been a pass funnel defense all year just because they're very good against the run, so the only way you can move the ball is throwing it on them, and the Broncos are 9.5-point dogs, so yes, they should be having to throw the ball a lot. So, I really like Devon Vele again. Like I said, they're going to give us a similar line. I'll take it again, So I love the spot. I love the matchup for him. I think he has a solid game. Again, 26 yards is not asking for a lot. So I like the spot here for him. And my last pick for the video is going to be Malik Neighbors over 68.5 receiving yards. So I really love this bounce back spot for Neighbors. He's been quiet the last few weeks coming back from his concussion, but I think this is a get-right game for him. This season, he had his career high in receiving yards. Obviously, he's a rookie. He had 127 yards against Washington. So we're getting this line under 70 yards. I really like that a lot. Washington, they are 4-point dogs. So, Giants are 4-point dogs. So, they should be playing from behind. They should have to throw the ball a lot. Malik Neighbors' target share is insane. I think even with missing those 2 games, he still has the 2nd most targets in the entire NFL, so it's crazy. They really throw it to is Wendell Robinson and Malik Neighbors. Yeah, Darius Slayton's coming alive a little bit, but Malik Neighbors is still the main guy. Daniel Jones loves throwing the ball too, and with this matchup, and with when he dominated the Washington Commanders earlier this year, can't really pass us up at under 70.5 receiving yards. So that was my last pick for the video. Definitely going to have a couple more picks, so definitely keep an eye out for those pinned comments if you're not following me on Twitter. So, yeah, that was the video. Appreciate you guys checking in again. Appreciate all the support I've been getting. So, best of luck this weekend with your bets. Peace.